Hello everyone, welcome back to Izzy Sandpit TV. Once again, thanks for joining in for another episode. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And if you're listening on podcast, thank you very much for supporting. Don't forget to hit the follow so you don't miss any notifications. Today I've got Angela Martin, the lead singer and guitarist of Bugeye. They've been going since 2015, but under the current lineup, 2018. They've released an album during lockdown, which they sold out all their vinyl copies, and they've really recently just finished a UK tour. We talk about all sorts. We talk about politics. We talk a little bit about, well, we talk lots about music. We also talk about their festival that they hold every year, and this year it's coming up in October. I hope you enjoy the chat. Thanks very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Izzy Sandpit. I'm now also available on podcast. So if you are listening in, thank you very much for the support. I do appreciate it. Today, I have got lead singer Angela for the band Bugeye. How are you doing, Angela?
Hello. Yeah, good. Surviving the stormy weather in the UK.
Yes. How is it? I believe the traffic was horrendous on your way to doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's always the way, isn't it? That it's as soon as you've got to be somewhere on time. Although my band would always say that timekeeping is not my strong point. But you know, I try.
No, it's fine. Listen, we all have our strengths and weaknesses in life, and mine is probably being way too early and end up being bored for half an hour. So yes, so no worries. I certainly won't hold it against you. So Bugeye, I literally discovered you because you were playing a Battle of the Bands in Macclesfield. And so, tell me about Bugeye. Started in 2015, if I'm correct, and then you did a new lineup in 2018, is that correct?
Yeah, so I've been in and out of bands over years, but always kind of come back to the project, which is called Bugeye. And so in 2015, it was with the original members, and we just started writing and just sort of experimenting with a few bits and pieces, but we didn't really kickstart anything with that. It was more a writing project. But then in 2018, me and Paula, who's a bass player who I've known since I was 11, and we've always been in a variety of bands, but always together, come as a pair. We decided to recruit a synth player on board because I can't play guitar and synth at the same time. And we got a new drummer on board too, Kerry, who was someone that we knew from a different band, and the stars aligned and she joined. So from 2018 to when we really started doing stuff properly. And we very quickly got a booking agent. We signed a record deal with Reckless Yes, and worked on our debut album. So we kind of just like fast tracked from there, from 2018 into just sort of full on touring, and then COVID hit. So
wow. Oh dear. How was it with COVID? What was it like? Because I know you released your vinyl, which sold out. Awesome, great stuff. That's brilliant. But how was it during COVID? Was it like?
It was, well, I mean, I remember, so we'd signed the record deal at the back end of 2019 and was super excited. We'd spent probably scrapped a load of material and decided we're just going to write completely new stuff. We don't want old material in the album. All has to be completely new and current about the things that are important to us. So we spent 6 months writing that, signed the record deal, plans for the album to come out. We did a live session in Anchor Baby Studio with Dan Lucas, and that was the weekend before we went into lockdown. So our tour was supposed to kick off. We played one date of a 20-date tour, and that was it for us, really, on that front. So we went into lockdown. Kerry was going, "Don't worry about it. This will be over in a few weeks." Obviously,
I said the same thing. A couple of months back down the pub by June.
But the thing that was good, not good during lockdown, but what we did was we just started the week before lockdown, not thinking that we were going to be in lockdown, a podcast.
Yes.
Called Bugeye's Rock Pop Rambles. And it was a way for us to create content, promote new music, and just talk about things that we love about music.
No, absolutely.
So that, because I mean, one of the things that we are, like Bugeye is part of sort of almost like a music community as well. So we support lots of bands, we help them out with, you know, promoting them. We'll always go to their shows, we share our contacts. We're part of that kind of organic grassroots thing. And we put on our own nights and things like this.
Yes.
We'll take bands and tour with us and stuff. So the podcast was just such a lifesaver for us during lockdown because we couldn't be together. But it was a way that we could kind of keep focused on still supporting new music, still doing something creatively as a band on a weekly basis.
That's great.
Because we, you know, none of us were the type that we're just going to like whip out an acoustic guitar and sing a cover of an Oasis thing and put that on Instagram. It's just not. It's like kind of outside. It's great for people that want to do that and are good at doing that.
Yeah, Izzy Sampit TV does not condone anyone that wants to record Oasis covers at home with their acoustic guitar, but I don't like Oasis.
I saw a lot of that during lockdown. I'm not going to name names, but I saw a lot of that. I watched a lot of streamed content. So basically we did weekly podcasts during lockdown. So we could keep creating content. And it was doing really well. We had some fantastic guests on the show. And we ended up in John Kennedy from Radio X's top 5 podcasts to listen to, which was a real honour to be included in that.
That's pretty good.
Because it is literally us getting drunk. We each have a story. So basically the premise is that 2 of us, because it was just easier to record with 2 people, we each come armed with a story from the world of rock, pop, or whatever genre. So it could be something on a serious note, it could be something stupid, like about songs about transport or stuff like that. And we fudge our way through with terrible research and in between play some new bands.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, that kept us going. So the album came out in the July. We didn't actually want it to come out during lockdown, but you know, we're actually, you know, it's one of those things that the record label had a schedule. You know, the world couldn't just completely stop, although it felt like it did. But the album came out and the vinyl sold out before the release date, so in pre-orders, which was really good.
Brilliant.
We did fantastic with digital downloads, physical sales of CDs and streams, and actually made a profit on the album, which we were like, phew. Wow. So that was good. So yeah, so it actually did a lot better than we thought. I was really stressed that it was just going to disappear into nothing, but it ended up on a few like best albums of 2020 and stuff like that. So we were really proud of it, and so it didn't turn out that bad after all. But
COVID was almost a little bit successful. Was successful for you guys really, because you managed to keep that momentum up, and no doubt you probably because you signed your record deal and then you managed to cash your your £100,000 each that you got from your record deal. So that kept you going through lockdown. You know what I mean? But but joking aside, it's really good that you managed to keep up that momentum and you started the podcast. And again, I appreciate you coming on my podcast and YouTube channel today, Angela. So thank you very much for supporting me as a one-man band as such. So tell me about the album. I've listened to the album all the way through. For me, top banger, On and On, awesome song. Shake and Bake. Tell me a little bit behind them. About the album, what's it about? I read on your website that you've got a lot of opinions. I'm not the only one. I try not to keep my opinions to myself on this channel, but tell me a little bit about it.
Well, I suppose when we wrote the album, there was a lot of stuff going on, as there always is. The world wasn't seeming to be a happy place. No. And just the way, the coping mechanisms that we all have. So I suppose the themes on the album, things like climate change, racism, I mean, on and on, is almost like about how we're in this secular sort of cycle of, you know, why are we still having these conversations about judging each other and destroying the planet? Like, we know what's wrong, but as humans, we seem to have this inability to fix it, or for anyone to take any sort of responsibility in doing it. We're happy to, not happy, but we kind of sort of try and close down our minds to it. And, you know, we'll sit back and just, you know, raise a glass to the end of the world, rather than really do anything about it. And that's not me lecturing anyone, because we're all guilty.
Absolutely, we're all guilty.
It was kind of like a glimpse of the world of, you know, from racism, homophobia to sexism and climate change, and just, you know, have we really moved that far forward with it all? Because, as you know,
no, absolutely,
will change ever happen.
Yeah,
but that song.
No, so
that song, like, I wrote all the parts to that on my own at home, which I didn't know that the band would actually like it, because I think that song's probably quite different on the album. There's
groovy.
I kind of took lots of different disco bass lines and merged them all together. You can hear a lot of influences going on there. And the same with like the synth, you've got like a bit of a sort of new ordery vibe, but then the sort of Moog keyboard coming in, and then you've got a little bit of, I don't know, there's a bit of everything in that song. And I think that's kind of representative. I sound like a wanker when I'm saying this, but a bit representative of the multitude of themes. But it all kind of comes together and sounds like one perfectly fitting song rather than a mishmash thing. So,
Well, no, because it's funny, because if you look on Spotify, Don't Stop sat on about 15,000 streams, and then On and On's underneath on about 2,000. And I'm like, and I mean no disrespect to Don't Stop.
Don't Stop's on about 15 or 16,000 streams.
I'm like, On and On's just like a real banger. So don't know. You never know. One body what.
It's funny because the two songs that almost didn't make the album were On and On and Don't Stop.
It's always the way.
The biggest
absolutely.
ones. But I'm glad you like Shake and Bake, because Shake and Bake is actually my
cool
favourite, because it's got that kind of bit of retro sort of vibe going on.
Yeah, it has. But
again, that's a song about climate change. So climate change kind of has a theme that runs throughout the album, but then also the kind of looking at our own personal demons of things that we've been through over the years. So like the death of a parent and how you cope with that. So depression, breakdowns, and how we sort of deal with things by, I don't know, going out on a Friday night. And I think everyone does this, you know.
We all cope in a different way, don't we?
Those things, and just, you know, and sometimes that works, and sometimes that's a good thing and escapism, and sometimes that's not. And I think that's something we played around with on the album. But everything on the album has a kind of optimism with it. It's upbeat rather than being down. Yeah.
It's funny because, and this, I hope you take this as a compliment, that if I was to compare you to a band in sort of your underlying tone is System of a Down. And System of a Down are quite angry in their opinion of politics and the social issues within the world, the inequalities. And you guys are also like almost like singing along about it in a pleasant way, but there's an undertone, whereas the System of a Down will just sing something angry about it. So when I listened to it, I almost read into it a little bit, and then when I read the bio on the website, I can see that now, and certainly shows in some of the lyrics. So I hope you take that as a compliment. You know,
I do. I mean, because the thing is, it's like, you know, we listen to music to feel better. We go out and dance in clubs to feel better, and so we kind of wanted to capture musically, that kind of sense with it. That, you know, that there is hope. Without wanting to sound
there's always hope.
tacky.
There's always hope.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it kind of reflects how we deal with things, and it's like the kind of upbeat sort of disco-y stuff, the melodies, and also at some points just kind of sounding a little bit crazy when talking about a situation like Breakdown with the kind of fairground synth stuff going on. It's because I don't know, for anyone who's ever like been through a bit of a mental break, it is this sort of insanity thing, and you have intense highs and obviously intense lows as well. And I think music a lot of the time captures the kind of intensity of the really down mood, but not that kind of manic sense. And we wanted to really put that in there as well. But then also, like with songs like Sunday Monday, which is about the rat race, which is almost like a sort of pastiche of a sort of Blur 90s Britpoppy type vibe on that, is the kind of chugging along and upbeat paciness, almost like if you're just listening to it on your headphones as you're going along with work, and you just go along and you're part of this cog and it's turning, and you know that something's not right, but then Monday starts again, back in it, and
absolutely,
and that's the kind of thing that we tried to do with a lot of the songs, and just have a sort of carefree thing about it, like with Shake and Bake, you know, people sitting on airplanes as they're off on holiday, as the world's burning somewhere else, but it's somewhere else, right? So I've seen it on the news.
Well, it's out of sight, out of mind, isn't it?
Well, exactly. So, you know, oh, that's really bad. I'm going to write a tweet about that, or I'm going to share something on Instagram and go, oh, this is awful. All right, I better not like miss my flight somewhere. And it's like we just carry on with life. And that's not us judging again.
No, but you can't solve the world's problems as well. That's the issue.
It's an observation of how it's almost like tragedy and destruction becomes the norm for us. Like we get shocked, and then we kind of go, oh, well, that's just happening. We've got to carry on now, you know, and that's kind of what we do as humans.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the world copes with what's happening in Ukraine at the moment. I don't like to touch on politics, but it's so raw as today. You know, it's the first day that you know, they've just gone in, the Russians have, into a couple of the breakaway regions, and they're supposedly moving into mainland Ukraine, and it's scary to see how this is going to fall, because you know, Facebook has got people blasting their opinions on there, and it's going to be full scale World War III, and I didn't think that we'd ever see something like that again. But it's happened with Iraq, it happened with Afghanistan, it happened in Crimea, it's happened, and then all of a sudden the world just seems to contain it to that one part of the world, and we just move on. So you're absolutely right. No, what you're saying is absolutely fine. It's like, obviously I'm out here in Dubai, so I'm so far away from it. It might never affect me.
Well, I suppose the reason why this feels a bit different is that it's Russia.
And it's a country
that does have capabilities, right? Gonna worry people, but Russia, even with the sanctions that have been put on, that have been put in place, you know, they've still gone ahead with what they're doing. They don't care, right? But I mean, you know, the thing is, all we can do is see the news and the comments that are happening out there, and talk about that, right? We're seeing from when I say we're seeing it from one side, I'm not defending Russia at all. I'm saying we obviously don't have all the information and facts as to what's going on, or how these restrictions or further restrictions will really impact Russia. But I suppose the thing with sanctions, and like as a world, we're also, we think we're separate, but we're also very much ingrained. And you know, the Chinese own a lot of like stuff don't they own, like, I think every kind of like tourist attraction in London or something.
It's crazy.
Like, you know, Russia own this and we own that, and so you know, I do wonder how removed we can be with those restrictions in place. And what a new a World War III, would that be played with finance rather than military force?
Yes.
But then I say that, but then, you know, there's situation, isn't there, in the Ukraine?
That's what they said. He said that wars are no longer going to be fought with guns. It's going to be politics. It's going to be money. It's going to be like COVID. It's going to be viral infections, and so yes. So I thought I'd touch on that. Let's, as we're going to have to move on to something a bit more positive. obviously, being an all-girl band, do you think you could end up in the legend status with the sort of the likes of the Runaways, the Donners, maybe? Have you got
Well, I, I suppose,
ambition?
yeah. Well, I mean, I would just like to see the band have, or any band, just get the respect they're due just for being a band and not being clubbed into, oh, right, well, a legendary girl band status. Why
No,
can't it just
absolutely.
be?
Yeah, no. I just picked those two out because obviously, with
Yeah,
you being an all-girl band, they're the
yeah,
sort of the two that stick in my head. So it
yeah,
wasn't meant to say that we should, if you obviously you're competing against the girls and the guys and the girls and the guys in the same band. So you compete
yeah.
against everyone, but we talk about little individual categories. Would it be nice for you to be at the top of everything? Just be the number one
Well,
then?
yeah, just to be a recognised band and not to just be in a category because we're
Yeah.
women. Because I mean, I just there are just so many. I don't even want to say like female fronted bands or girl bands. There are just
Yeah.
so many bands out there that are deserving of recognition that it shouldn't really be based on, do you want to be the next famous girl band? It should just be the next famous band, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I suppose for a band that's recognised for the work that we're doing to help other bands get up the ladder,
That's nice.
we
Yeah.
organised our own music festival. The first year was in 2019. She Drew the Gun, Nova Twins, Bang Bang Romeo, The Lovely
Where
Eggs,
was
Blood
that,
Red Shoe.
Angela?
That
Where
was
was
in
that
Croydon.
located? Right.
That
Okay.
was in
And
Croydon. I
yeah,
took over um, a hotel that was earmarked for demolition and built in three spaces, like the ballroom, turned that into the main stage room,
it's amazing.
and create 3 stages to put on a music festival that was gender
Right.
balanced across performers and the crew. You often don't see female sound engineers, and there are loads out there, so I don't know why they're not getting that work. So yeah, so I suppose as a band, it's a case of the success for us is being happy in what we're doing, regardless of how many records we sell. That would be fantastic if we could be at the stage where I can buy a big house with a swimming pool, but that's
No,
not what it's
absolutely.
about.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's about feeling happy and content with what we're doing, that people enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I think being a band that's recognised as not being all about ourselves
Yeah.
and trying to support the grassroots music industry, I think yeah, I'd like to be remembered for that,
That's nice.
actually, for the work that
Yeah.
we do with other bands.
Oh, wow. Okay. So in that case, then that question is completely utterly redundant in that sense, that you'd rather just see everyone. And it's great because I've just had we had Lucy on from a band called Square Wild, who are from Manchester. They've just finished
Yeah.
their own little mini festival where they had a lineup, they headlined, and they brought lots of arts and crafts in. And I think they were something like, not my thing, my boom. They douche. For those watching on podcast, they literally just knocked my boom out the way. So, listening on podcasts, sorry. So they literally nearly sold out, and I was like to Lucy, I said, "That's great, really well done." So it is indicative of the new sort of the way that bands are going, that they are setting up their own festivals and not relying on the older methods of necessarily booking a venue to expose their music to the world and to fans, and the people come together. So it's great. It's absolutely great.
I suppose for us, the next festival is the 1st of October, and it's going to be twice the size. 2019, it's like 3,000 capacity.
Where's it being held?
It's going to be held at the Fairfield Halls in Croydon. So it's 3 stages, 1 day, 40 bands, and it's bringing together some established artists with emerging talent. Because one of the things to get on festival bills, like normally you have to have a booking agent, right? So, and there's a lot of politics about it, and I wanted to sort of strip that back. So the emerging talent bands, we're going to open up submissions soon. It's not about how many followers you've got on Facebook or Twitter or any of those channels. It's about whether your music's good, and to get a chance to just play on those stages and be paid as well. So everyone gets paid
amazing.
fairly.
That's really good.
You get video and photography content from it, and we also do PR and marketing around all the bands, not just the established ones. So it's just to kind of, help bands get some kudos for something that they're doing that then opens other doors for them in other ways. So
Absolutely.
that's what we do in the festival. And I'm not even sure, because it was quite stressful the first time playing and running a festival.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm sure it is.
I'm not sure. I think the rest of Bugeye might have a view on this, but for me, I'm not sure I'll play this year's festival.
Right. Okay.
It was quite. I'm happy to just, because I can't even tell you the amount of stress it was running a festival. There was such a massive issue about Portaloos. It's a whole podcast about Portaloos and licensing. And I think I'd rather just have the role of festival director this year rather than trying to play and manage.
So you heard it here first. Bugeye may not be appearing at their own festival this year, and Angela, looks happy and content at not performing. Do you know what? That just goes to show that you're happy just to give the others a chance and not be involved yourself in that sense. And it is really good. I really like it. If I'm back in the UK, I keep getting stuck out here. Not that I don't want to come back, but I'm quite happy at the moment in the sunshine. I'm not going to lie. I'm not in a rush. But it sounds like a really good festival, and I wish you the best with that. So,
thank you.
Next thing I wanted to ask you, I was digging a little bit, and I believe you've done some gigs at Wembley, and you've been on your music has been on Japanese TV. Tell me a little bit about that. Japanese TV is the most bizarre TV.
Hats off to you for research. So so played with the Cranberries at Wembley back in the day.
Oh wow. Awesome.
Not in this Bugeye lineup, in a different band. So that was pretty exciting to do that. And then I went into sort of being a session musician for a little bit. And then just focused on writing and doing sort of like digital writing. Let's say digital writing. It's kind of like not live instruments, so not dance. I can't explain it really, but if you can imagine something chaotic that would be on like a kind of 80s computer game thing, but a little more modern sounding. That's what I kind of really got into, which the Japanese market absolutely loved. And so I kind of worked with an agency and got some stuff placed on like a kids program, another advert, and also in a film. And just various bits and pieces. So it's not Bugeye music that would have gone on there. It was just, I'd say probably if you could take something like the Klaxons and add an even more chaotic, crazy aspect to it of bleeps and digitalness, then you've got that down to a T. I'm not sure it's anything I'm going to be resurfacing anytime soon, but it kind of, it
I've got a clip to play. A little clip for us, for the podcasters.
Not right now, no. I might send you something privately. You can just go, please. What is that? And I'll go,
and I'll stick it in the body of the comments.
Going at that point, but no, it's I'm proud and ashamed.
You know what? You'll probably go throughout your music career and you'll look back at the things that have made you the most funny, and it's like burying that. I don't want that.
You know what I think I've learned is, for example, if I think it's not very good, it probably is good, right? Because that was the same with the stuff that ended up on TV. And then the two biggest tracks from the album were the ones I was like, I don't know about that. But there's I shouldn't be the one that decides what goes on albums.
Angela writes a song, doesn't pick the album songs. No, you know what? It's Yeah, that's
Anything
quite
good. No,
amusing.
don't put that on there.
Don't put that on there. Goes to number one. No.
Exactly.
So another thing about that, I'm just sticking on the album. Who come up with the video for "Don't Stop"? Because it's wacky. It's wacky. I'm bringing back the questions about music videos because in the last one, the episode that comes out on Saturday, we talk about a music video from another band. I'll give you guys the limelight, but my next episode, and we talk about music video, the death of the music video a little bit, because music videos used to be the thing. You used to get a music video, you used to go on MTV, and it could potentially make you stratospheric. And nowadays, the music video doesn't go quiet, but I start digging I really want a music video from every band that I listen to. But so tell me the story behind it, because it's wacky to say the least. And the little mouths that move, and the little vocal melodies are just the mouth opening. It's just like, it's crazy.
Well, I think it's just a glimpse into, I think it goes back to the Japanese thing. There's a lot of chaos going on in my brain, really. And well, I always like to sort of have a bit of a sense of humour about things and not take it seriously. I think, in the past, I think there was one music video where, we were playing as a band to camera and it's all very serious. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is boring to watch. I hate those types of videos unless there's something quirky about it.
Yes.
So I decided to make a stop animation music video. Never done anything like that before. And also with the kind of restrictions of lockdown, being in lockdown, it was just going to prove a bit of an impossible thing to get a director and someone to do something for us. And I just thought, with the DIY ethos of the band, and we pretty much, manage ourselves and are very proactive in that way, I thought we could make the video. So I storyboarded it out. I got the band to film themselves on mobiles and send it to me so I could manipulate that. And so we could still kind of be in the whole OOs with the mouse. That was people filming.
That was really cool. Really great little part, that.
And cut it all together. And then I got the band to come over with some bottles of wine and beer, and that we would shoot it. So we did it all by hand. So lots of cutting and sticking, using blue tack on a tiny little green screen.
That's awesome.
Paper,
proper homemade.
Animate it all. So it was a hell of a lot of work. I'm not sure that I'd do it again.
So I think you're not doing it again, Angela.
It took so well. If there's another lockdown and I've got nothing else to do, then But no, it was good to learn how to do, because there's some bits in there that are actual proper animations as well.
Yes.
So to learn to animate and to just get my head around the software and how to use it all. But I just thought we ended up with a video that was just a bit more interesting to watch than us just sitting like playing to camera. And those videos can be good, and a lot of people do like those types of videos. But for me, I think it's just got to have something a bit more.
No, absolutely. And I'm going to draw back to another legendary band, Iron Maiden. They don't like the staged videos. And there was one video, Rainmaker, off the Dance of the Death album, which it's quite old now. I think it's about 20, probably 15 years old at least. And they said that they hated that video of a Rainmaker because they always have, obviously, the Eddie, this is awful. They have Eddie. I'm just going to say Eddie. I'm going to cut that one out. They have Eddie on the screen, and that's what they like to do. So it was really creative, and I really enjoyed the video. So really well done on that one. And again, that brings you on to another question about what's going on in your head. Of what's your influences then? What sort of music as you grew up? Sort of, because I'm getting a lot of energy here that you've got. 1 minute you'll be listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the next minute you'll be listening to some black metal. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm getting a real eclectic vibe here.
No, I think you've got that right. So growing up, like my dad, on weekends when my mum was out shopping, I used to always just stay home to listen basically to my dad's records, because he'd just blast it out. So you'd have anything from like Phil Spector's Christmas album to like, you know, the other bands that he worked with, the Wall of Sound stuff, the Shangri-Las, for example. So 60s stuff to Queen and ABBA.
Queen.
And
ABBA.
bit of Bowie in there. So it was a real sort of mix when I was little, listening to all of that stuff. So a lot of 60s groups, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, all the usual suspects, as well as some quite more sort of obscure stuff in play. And then, you know, as a teenager, grumpy teenager, I really got into, it's weird, like, so there was pop records that I really loved, but then I was really
Spice Girls fan.
Thrash metal, for example. Sepultura, Pantera, even.
Pantera.
Yeah, so, you know, all of that sort of stuff. And then, you know, but then I started to get into the, you know, through the likes of like Skunk Anansie, getting into more lighter stuff, into The Cure, and then my Britpop days, but then also being into a lot of dance music as well. So I've just basically been into just such a vast range of stuff, and always just been open to genres. And not, I don't know, I suppose with the kind of the aspect of writing and making videos and stuff, I just don't take things too seriously, which is why there's always a bit of humour and lightheartedness in what we do and what I do, really, I suppose. Yeah. So and I'm not stuck to, so I think with Bugeye's music, from what I'm saying, you'd probably expect it to be like, oh well, it's just completely random. I still think it sounds very Bugeye, and you know, we have our own
not direction,
our own sound, but what I have no interest in going, right, well, what we are is this, and we must stick to just this. The new stuff that we're writing at the moment, I think mainly because my daughter, the only thing that she will allow us to listen to is David Bowie. She's 4, and she's very beautiful, and she gets me to sing to her at night Black Star, which is really depressing.
Yeah, that is a miserable song.
She loves it. In the Villa of Amen, but she loves it. So I've been listening to a lot of Bowie stuff at the moment, and that has just seeped into the new stuff that we're writing for Bugeye. There's a lot of like kind of vocals with a fifth up, with Kerry singing with me, so dual vocal stuff going on.
Awesome.
And more kind of a bit of Gary Newman, I think. I don't know where that's come from. It's seeped in. So we've kind of really taken more of that synth stuff and put it in, but still with our sort of signature kind of guitar hooks that go in. But again, that's emulating kind of, you know, but using a lot more sort of, you know, octave stuff and effects and things, but still keeping it quite rocky. But yeah, it's definitely gone into an 80s Bowie vibe there.
I'm looking forward to
rather than the Black Star vibe. We're not going to come back with anything gloomy, but
it's funny you say, because I've probably say that some of my favourite festivals, one of my favourite festivals that I've attended quite often is Creamfields. So being stuck in a muddy field in the northwest, listening to the likes of Deadmau5 and Fatboy Slim and all the older DJs. So I get that electronic vibe, because I love Pendulum as well. They're one of my favourite bands as I grew up. But then polar opposite, listening to the likes of, you know, Green Lung, you know, who are like a prog sort of a metal band at the moment, you know, Cradle of Filth again, you know, listening to that. So my music spectrum is quite wide, and it's amazing how you pull your influences, but it certainly shows that you've got a lot of an eclectic thought process in the locker.
Yeah, I think I just get bored quite easily.
Me too.
With certain things. I just keep switching things up. I mean, I think this is Spotify's fault, actually. Like, you know, unless it's on vinyl, and I'm having a moment in an evening where I just sort of need to just, I don't know, have something on in the background. But like, you know, when I'm out for a run or going anywhere, I can't just listen to a whole album. It's got to be a mixture of things. People say my playlists are really random.
Yeah. See, I like an album. I love listening from an album from start to finish and listening to it how the artist has meant. When Adele said that a few months ago that write an album, you shouldn't put it on shuffle. I don't like shuffling albums. I'm a bit weird. I like to play it as it comes.
Well, like I say, if it's like, you know, I'm having a moment and I put a record on and I want to listen to it in its entirety, like Joni Mitchell's Blue, for example, like the way that album was constructed, you listen to it in its entirety and there's just such a narrative and, you know, fantastic storytelling within that, and actually a lot of, you know, biographical stuff in there, especially, you know, there's one song from that album which is incredible, which I do a story about this on the podcast, that she actually came up with this song while she was living in a cave on the island of Crete, because in the 60s she kind of quit the US, went to Crete, met this guy, stayed in this hippie commune where you actually lived in an actual cave, not like a cave. There's loads of caves. Look at Matala on the internet. Google that, everyone, and look at the images of that. All these caves in the rocks. It's not like a kind of Airbnb where it's got a nice bed and TV in there. It's an actual real cave.
Wow.
Actual cave. Right. And I don't know. So it's just, I love stories like that, and you tie it into the album and things. So yeah, no, there is a quality of listening to an album from start to finish. So I do totally get the Adele thing. But I also think, you know, mixtapes, love them. Well,
we all used to do mixtapes when I was young. I mean, my little cassette tapes, and I used to mix all my songs on there, you know. And another interesting fact I read or was told the other day, by Jeff, was Jeff Holdroyd from Feeder, was telling me that 95% of music on Spotify is never listened to. Only 5% of music on Spotify is consumed, and the other 95% is just left there in the ether and never listened to. How is that possible? So that just goes to show that the amount of content that is out there, you know, it's just insane. So, and the fact that they pay 0.00002p or whatever it is. So it's you don't
really earn any money from it. And it's also just like the algorithm then, because it's like, even when you're going through trying to discover stuff, it's always going to show you things that other people have listened to a certain degree, right? To a certain level. So it's like those new bands that have only had like 10 listens are never going to get picked up by that algorithm.
No.
And I don't know how.
I don't know the solution. I don't know myself. So, okay, Angela, it's my favorite little section of my podcast / YouTube channel. It's my fun question section. The first question that I've got for you today is, if you're eating a portion of chips, are you putting gravy or curry on top of them?
Gravy. Always gravy.
Gravy's winning a battle here against the curry. I love curry sauce as well, but gravy, being from the north, being from Warrington, it's got to be curry. And so it's got to be gravy. It's got to be gravy most of the time.
The winners. Food of the gods.
So you've got a 4-year-old child. For your daughter, are you? But for yourself personally, you're having Cocoa Pops or Rice Krispies?
Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispies. I had a bowl of Rice Krispies before you came on. With some sugar on top.
Music. What's not to love about that?
I love roast, and they still made the little snap, crackle, and pop sound.
Exactly.
Who is the most famous person in your phone book?
That would be telling, wouldn't it?
That's to give the number. Go on.
No. That's the most famous person in my phone book. We just Jonathan Ross or Vicky Corrin. You decide.
Jonathan Ross. Wow. What's that doing there?
Once upon a time, I used to work in the poker industry.
Right.
And I set up a charity tournament in Monte Carlo. This is going to sound so random.
Amazing, this. Great nugget.
So this was when I worked at PokerStars.
Right, okay.
And so it's part of their European Poker Tours. They have this big kind of huge buy-in event in Monte Carlo. And I set up a charity tournament with a bunch of celebrities. And Vicky Corrin was someone who I worked with, Victoria Corrin, who's she's host of Only Connect, that BBC
Yes,
thing.
yeah, I've heard the name. I'm not as quite as au fait as that.
So she was on Team PokerStars Pro, and we were doing a charity tournament. So we got a bunch of celebrities together and flew them to Nice, and then hired a helicopter to go back and forth, picking them up from Nice, because it was quicker to get a helicopter than to drive. It was 7 minutes in a helicopter to Monte Carlo, or an hour in the car. So on this charity tournament was Stephen Mangan, Boris Becker, John Bishop, Jonathan Ross, Victoria Corrin, and oh my god, I can't remember who the sixth person was, which is really bad. So we were out for dinner that night and drinks, and then did the tournament the next day. So
wow. That's an amazing little fact. That's beat another question before that comes later. So the final. No, it's good. It's good. That's really amazing. The next question is, if you could play any character in a video game, who would it be?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Do you know what? I don't know what thought me. I thought she's going to either go Mario or Sonic or Lara Croft out of Tomb Raider. I thought you like a Lara Croft type.
But no, I like Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I really got into running during lockdown. And
have you watched the film?
No, I haven't.
You've not watched the Sonic the Hedgehog film? You need to watch the film. It's got Jim Carrey in it as Dr. Robotnik.
There's a Sonic the Hedgehog film.
There's a Sonic the Hedgehog film. 2 seconds. For the watchers, sorry, for the listeners, I'm literally getting my phone to show Angela the Sonic the Hedgehog film. And there's 2 coming out. There. Sonic the Hedgehog.
So this is number 1, but I'm in time for number 2. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Sonic the Hedgehog, guys. All the hedgehogs are available, but Sonic the Hedgehog is the hedgehog of all, I think. I love Sonic the Hedgehog on my old Sega Mega Drive. Oh, what a life. Those are the days. Retro gaming. Now we're talking. And the final question on this next section is, tell me a funny story from a tour that you've done.
Oh.
Yes. Come on, get digging, Angela. Dig the realms.
I'm trying to think of one that I can tell, because it's about me rather than any other band member. Because okay, so this isn't from Bugeye, this is from a different band. So I have been known to sleepwalk, right? Yes, I've been known to sleepwalk. And when I was on tour with band Tiny Tigers, we stayed in this B&B, and it was B&B with no locks on the doors. So this is I'm surprised, being someone who listens to a lot of true crime, I'm surprised I didn't barricade the door or just somewhere else. But anyway, there's no locks on the doors. So it's this kind of townhouse, you've got your room, that's it, right? So I was sharing a room with the other 2 band members. I went sleepwalking in what I can only describe is what looks like 8-year-old pajamas, because my parents still insist on buying me like animal pajamas. So I was in these green froggy pajamas. I go sleepwalking. Paula in the band thought this was hilarious. Like, basically spoke to me, but I was just like, she said it was funny, but it was also terrifying, because it was just like you were just in this daze and you just didn't hear anything. And basically I went out of the room and I went down the stairs and to someone else, some absolute random's room, banged open their door and just went, "What are you doing in my bed?" And this man let out this terrified scream. And then I just sat down on his bed.
Cracked
And,
open a beer.
and then Paula just like, come on, Angela, took me by the hand and was leading me up because you're not supposed to wake someone up when they're walking. But yeah, and I mean, is this even true? I don't know. I was asleep. So yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
apparently that's happened.
Are you allowed back at the certain B&B now, or you banned? You're banned.
No idea. I don't think anything was really mentioned, but the rest of the band were giggling at breakfast because the man was apparently down there at breakfast, and then when he got up and left after we came in, they explained to me what had happened, why this man was so angry and glaring at me.
Well, do you know what though? But the thing is these things happen. You know, we all do. I mean, a funny story I've not mentioned on this on the channel yet is a guy. Do you know the footballer Franny Jeffers?
No.
No, he's an Arsenal player, and he's
Okay.
not the most. He's not Tom Cruise. He's not going to lie. My mate walks into a pub and goes, "You look like Franny Jeffers." And I'm stood there like that going, we're going to get knocked out here. I'm going to end up in a scrap here and end up in E. And I'm like, right, come on, mate. Come on, let's go. And over there, push him over there. It's like, it's just joking. He's just a bit drunk. How are you saying that for? So sometimes when someone just says something a bit daft, you can excuse it. But with yours, you know, it's just a random occurrence.
I mean, it must have been absolutely terrifying. Could you imagine being woken up?
Unfortunately, I think some of my stories that I can't say again on a public domain outweigh someone walking into my room sleepwalking. It's a great story but honestly, some of the things that I just sit there and you know when you think back and go, did that happen? Did this thing happen? Yeah. So great, Angela, really good story. So I'm going to wrap it up a little bit. So tell me about new Bugeye album. When's that coming out? Anything you can reveal?
Anything I can reveal? Well, we are heading back into studio shortly. We're definitely going to have some singles out this year.
Okay.
We're supposed to be going off on tour in June. I can't.
Anywhere nice?
All the dates yet. It'll be UK, still UK based. Festivals in there.
Anywhere? So anywhere you can mention?
Not allowed to mention.
Come on, give us one. Give us an initial. Anything with a G or an I?
Well, maybe the I is.
The I, guys. A festival that begins with I and an S. Maybe.
I'm not allowed to say. My lips are sealed. Okay. Yeah. So that tour will be announced soon, and our first single will be out in the next 2 or 3 months. All of this is working towards album number 2, but at the moment it's the timing, right? Because we want vinyl and there's a vinyl shortage. You know what I might learn is how do you make vinyl? Can I just make it myself? Can I set up? I think
it might be the raw material, I feel. But no, I don't know. I don't work in vinyl, but I do know there's a massive shortage of vinyl. So
well, yeah, some people say like a year and a half wait and stuff, and so I don't know. Some decisions need to be made as to, you know, well, we're not going to wait a year and a half for it, or do we? I don't know, but definitely in the meantime, we you know, we're not going to just sit still because of that. We've definitely got 3 singles out this year.
Excellent.
And hopefully that results in then here's the album. If we can make the final thing work. If not, we might just switch up and break it into just doing an EP. That's a digital thing.
Yeah.
With an album coming a months later, which means more material because I'm really not into the whole thing of everything on the album's already been released. I like to have some surprises in there, but we're quite prolific in writing, so that's not a problem.
Awesome.
But all the stuff I've binned that didn't make the album, I should just put out as an album.
Yeah.
Probably be the best I've ever done, right?
Just call it like the Bugeye's B-side hits.
And it'll probably be better than the original album because it's established. I can't judge. So
no, absolutely. If you're that bad of a judge of your own music, Angela, then sometimes you know that you don't see through your own creativity. like what my favorite song is on my EP that I released for 4 divided by 2 is completely different to what everyone else is. So, you know, like my favorite song is completely different to everyone else's. So yeah, it's creativity is subjective. So
exactly, you become attached to stuff, don't you, based on your own feelings about things, which is why whenever we're at singles, we've got material, we have like a listening group, which is a mixture of people we work with in the industry, but then also fans are invited along to listen to new material and then vote.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What singles should be, because ultimately they're the people that are going to be pushing it or buying it or whatever. So
no, absolutely, no, absolutely. So, well, don't forget to add me to the list when you do listen in. Izzy wants a chunk of the singles, you know.
Yeah.
So, Angela, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've been brilliant. Thanks for answering all my questions. Thanks for getting stuck into some interesting topics as well. It's not stuff I usually talk about, but you've been a blast. Thank you very much for wading through London traffic to get here and chat to me on my YouTube channel and podcast. So thank you very much. Good luck with the album. Good luck with the tour. Good luck with any festivals, beginning with particular letters. Have to listen back a bit, guys, if you want to listen in. Have a good day and thank you very much.
Cheers. All right,
see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.